And in the top part of the map, we have our purple Protoss player. It is none other than USA 1's Shadver. And in the bottom right of the map, we have his opponent, our yellow Zerg player from the Day 9 ladder clan. It is the Protoss. So interesting thing about this map, obviously, is it kind of retains the wonderful, annoying nature of a four-player map without letting you get anywhere near as ridiculous. Does that make it a good thing? Well, as you could tell in the kind of pre-game conversations we were having beforehand, some people like that. Some people like the fact that you can't necessarily have guaranteed scouting against your opponent. It allows for some interesting things to occur. On the other hand, obviously some people don't like that. They do like that certainty. It makes the game a lot more interesting for them. Meanwhile, we can see that Shadver has gotten the faster scout off, and Protoss is unfortunately going to scout his opponent second. Unfortunately, I guess he's not quite aware of the scout times on this map, or else he would have actually already taken this drone and sent it over to the other side of the map. It is something that's worth familiarizing yourself with on this particular ladder bowl, because you can't unfortunately eliminate all of the maps that have these options. Also, welcome ZRQ and anybody else who's not been paying too much attention up until now. Don't worry, you have not missed anything yet. This is game one of Shadver versus the Protoss. Our map pool, of course, being Catalina, which we're playing on right now, Deadwing, and Nimbus. Of course, the usual block with the probe right there. That pylon may actually be a little bit off-center. I wonder if he can actually place that still. I don't think so. No, he's not even going to go for it. So this is a very typical response to a lot of this. Is a lot of players will actually just take their drone and put it down at the third. They won't even bother with trying to get rid of the pylon. They won't worry about the timing problem there. And unfortunately, what this does do on some maps is it puts you in an awkward position to defend against the gateway all-in. So I wouldn't be particularly surprised if that's kind of what we end up seeing Shadver go for here, because the possibility for that is there. And we did see him again. He did kind of say he wanted to do a lot of all-ins because he didn't have such a great time from a macro standpoint against the Protoss the last time he played. The thing is, though, Shadver's had a lot of practice since then. The Protoss has not, so it's very difficult to say where it's going to go. And Protoss is most certainly going for a heavy economic strategy. The Forge is actually just about to finish. I wonder if he's going to try and cannon rush this location with the probe. Unfortunately, he's kind of revealed that it's there already, so it probably wouldn't work out. No, he's not even going to bother. Just goes for another check into the base real briefly and comes back down because he double gas is being picked up by Shadver back over in his main base. Usual kind of part of the process for that. It's going to be actually maybe a little short of just the gas that he's going to want for the Mothership Core and Warp Gate or a Stalker, depending on what he's going for. To wait a little bit and see. Some references to the fact that Catalina has an octopus in the middle of the map. It is in fact there. You can see it on the minimap, and whoa, that is a nice shot of that. I love that zoom out ability you can do with the game these days. Really helps for shots like that. All guys in gas. So let's see where Shadver is going for from here. Pretty much, this is kind of the standard place that a Protoss is trying to get to, no matter what, in this matchup. And the key thing to watch for from there is basically just see what the Protoss puts down after the cybernetic score. So we're going to want to check back over there probably when he hits between 30 and 40 supply. But until then, let's see what our Zerg player is up to. Zerg player has one. Let's see here. He's actually still mining gas, so he's gone far past the point he would need for simply speed. No, we just took him out immediately. Okay. Couldn't remember if Zergling speed was actually 100 gas or not. And yes, it is confirmed. So he's going for a very, very heavy macro approach here. Sorry, I am a little rusty on my casting at the moment. Actually, I'm able to cast more or less with full energy right now, which my mouth is not used to. So this is turning into kind of a little bit of a messy pronunciation issue. So my bad on that. But meanwhile, what do we got coming back home? It's a Twilight Council. So it looks like Shadver is going for either DTs or a fast blink play. Fast blink being very, very common, actually, on the ladder in general from Protosses. The Mothership Core also provides very useful vision with that. You don't have to go up into Robo anymore like you used to in Wings. So it's a very, very solid way of approaching the game. Protoss obviously relying on Lings for some time until he gets to a little bit later stage of the game. We're going to see him probably grab the remaining gases actually very quickly. But that won't happen until he's a little bit more drone saturated. Right now, he's still actually hanging out at about the saturation for 2 bases, which, if you don't know, is actually at about exactly 44 workers. 44 workers will give you 16 on minerals and 6 on gases at 2 bases. So pretty much pushing forward a little bit from there. A little bit supply blocked, though. I think see if that affects him too much here. Both players actually look like they're doing about the same in this respect. And DTs and Blink. This is a very, very interesting play because it's going to mean that he can't really do either very fast. He's going to probably use 1 DT to try and throw his opponent off a little bit from there, and then, or a couple DTs, try and do a lot of damage and then follow up with Blink. Or he's going to be in an awkward position where he's just going to kill like maybe tiny little bit of damage with the DTs, and then probably end up with kind of not enough stalkers. Like, this is a interesting thing to try and do at the same time. He's also getting +2 though, so the stalkers will be very strong here. He's gotten a look at the number of gateways being piled up right there. He didn't see the extra 2. That should be enough for Protoss to actually get the idea that some kind of aggression is coming toward him. Checking on his vision right now, he did not actually see the DTs, but he's already got detection built into his bases. So I have a feeling that Protoss actually should be totally fine holding this off. He's even got spine crawlers at both the natural and the third, so he should be pretty well protected from any Dark Templar coming into his base, actually. Now, unfortunately, he does have some stuff transferring right as the DT gets over here, though, so this could get ugly. And nope, the DT doesn't notice. Excellent for our Zerg player. So he's going to run up into the main base here. He's going to see, okay, you've got upgrades going on. You've got detection over there. He's going to try and go and start killing some stuff. Gets 1 worker. Let's see if he actually gets any more than that. No, unfortunately, didn't control him. So this first DT not really recouping its cost at all. And what is he warping in from there? Just stalkers. So it looks like Shadver is pretty much doing exactly that. Tried to do the damage with the DTs. If he gets lucky, cool, he does a lot of damage, and he's going to follow up with the stalkers. If he doesn't get lucky, he's not going to overinvest into it. He's just going to focus on the stalkers. And unfortunately, though, he's now in a position where he really needs to get some serious work done, and that's a lot of roaches. Problem with this being, of course, that the reinforcement point for Protoss is just so much closer. And this is an incredibly good place, actually, I think, for... well, now he doesn't have his reinforcement pylon. Now this is a bit awkward. Okay. Time Warp is going to make it so that the roaches are not quite able to get in a firing position properly, so they're going to have to... But unfortunately, they force a lot of blinks out of the stalkers, and frankly, more roaches coming out in the back of that. Shadver is going to try and go for a blink into the main base here. I think that's what he's positioning to do. No, warping in more stalkers, and looks like he's going to position forward. Okay. Roach numbers have increased. Protoss is aware of the fact that his opponent is going very, very hard in stalker tech, which means that he's going to be extremely strong right now, but that may not continue for much longer. Okay, action coming out here. This is a very, very nice place, actually, for Shadver to engage, as proper concave is not really present for the Protoss. But the battle is not quite over yet, as the roaches are piling up, and the blinks are beginning to become more and more of a less helpful thing, as just the shields drain away from the stalkers and they become more and more damaged, leaving the mothership core over the roaches for a brief period of time to add some extra damage in there. More roaches coming out, and the upgrades are going to start stacking on top of that. Yes, we do have +2, but roach speed is actually just about to finish, not to mention 2-2 is on the way for the Zerg as well. And this becomes a little bit more of an issue as time goes on. Some stalkers positioning to the north. Roach is trying to position here to make sure that they don't get surrounded too hard there. Ling's pushing forward to try and do a little extra damage on top of the roaches. It's going to push the stalkers back to the north. And unfortunately, there really is going to maybe lose one. No. Okay. This is a very, very awkward place to be in, and oh no, I think once the Hydra tech gets in there, if he hasn't lost too many roaches yet, Protoss should probably be pretty safe against this. The DPS that it adds just becomes incredibly difficult to deal with only Blink Stalkers, without any Colossus tech or Archons or anything else with area of effect damage against light, like Storm. Without that, it becomes very, very difficult. Now, however, where Shadver can be okay is if he actually is able to do enough in the way of damage to the roaches so they can't protect the Hydras, and he should be okay. The question, will that be the case? Here comes the Hydras actually joining the battle right now, along with the roaches. The mothership core goes down. There's vision on the high ground, so this arc is actually a much better overall position for the Protoss. He's moving forward, trying to engage, but Shadver is pushed back. So far, Shadver's still sticking with his tactic, warping in 7 more Stalkers, no additional tech coming in back home, no additional bases. And Protoss's army is starting to solidify and grow stronger. +2 attacks will finish shortly here, in which case he's going to have very, very, very good blinks, or he's just going to lose all stuff really quickly. Here comes the attack. Roach is moving out to the front. Hydra's pushing back. Stalkers, actually, at this point, it looks like he's just going to go for hit-and-run maneuvers. +3 is just about to finish. And I guess this is really Shadver's last chance here, is to dive forward with that +3 and see if he can make something happen. There's the I guess this isn't going to work Nexus, is what I call it. That's what you feel like when you're a Protoss player. You go for the 2-base all-in. The 2-base all-in doesn't work, so you go for the I guess it's not going to work Nexus. And you just hope you don't get attacked for a while. That may work out for him here and may not, but unfortunately he cannot fight this army, and it is pushing him back. Protoss trying to get a better angle, better position, splitting his units up, trying to get a better concave against his opponent, but Shadver is refusing to commit, blinking further away. Unfortunately, he's going to walk right up to this 3rd base that really doesn't want to get attacked right now. Trying to tempt forward to an engagement here. I don't really like the idea that Shadver's trying to bait this out, though, as that's going to be a lot of damage coming up in his face. He's doing nice selective blink back there, but unfortunately, as you can see, the DPS is just too high. Most of the Stalkers are actually dying and not being blinked back. And now he's basically going to have his base shredded. Unfortunately, there's not much in the way of Roach support for this army right now. Reinforcements are streaming across the map, but he needs a little bit more meat in this army if any kind of additional tech begins to show up, which it isn't. But from Protoss's perspective, he doesn't quite know that yet. He does have a changeling forward, giving him some vision of the army, and he's going to pick up a 4th base in the back of that. And this is a really, really rough situation for Shadver. He cannot really support continual Stalker production in basically anything else at this point. He can grab +1 armor, but he can't go up into this. He can't go up, make Archons. He can't go up into Colossus tech. He can't get High Templar. He really can't do anything. And apparently there's some random drone sitting in the middle of Shadver's base. How long has that been there? Hello there. He's got a party hat and everything, so I guess he's just hanging out. And oh my goodness, Protoss gets perfect vision of the High Templar coming down, so he knows that there's no more Stalker reinforcements really for a little bit here. He's got to build up that gas. He can't do that if he's continually pushing out the Stalkers, and this is just getting a little darker and darker for our Protoss player here. Pushing forward with the Roaches, doing some damage to this. Again, just really not really trading very well here. He kills a Roach every now and again, but he loses like 4 or 5 Stalkers at the same time. The attack is pushing forward, and that's GG.